everyone can just jump back in. So, Anna, you were asking me, did I get your message? I did not get your message. I've got it now. Thank you.
That's fine. Go for it.
Thank you so much. I'm going to share it later because it was just so powerful and it was playing on my mind all afternoon. And I was like, why is this not going out my head? I was like, because it's because I've got to share it. So thank you. So guys, tonight, housekeeping, and then we'll dive straight in. I want you to commit to, if you haven't watched any of the videos beforehand, commit to going back and watching them. This is life-changing stuff and we are not messing about, we're just getting started. I want us to have fun along the way. So like I say, unmute yourself, ask questions if you want to, get involved, send me messages. If something happens that's funny, share it with others. Let's enjoy ourselves. Ask questions. If you're thinking it, somebody else will be thinking it too. I have many blind spots that sometimes I need your help bringing to my attention, that I've not explained something in the best way and I may have left you confused. My intention is that you leave clear and not confused. Take notes, be present. Don't forget the prize draw. I've decided to do it at 10 a.m. on Sunday. The words so far are aligned, and identity, which I've now spelled correctly. Special prize if you spell it incorrectly, the way I did. And don't forget to check out my free content, share it with everybody that you know on Instagram, the Facebook community, the female empowerment community on Facebook, and my YouTube channel. And if there is anybody that you know that should have been on these 3 days and does not know about it, please, please, please share the link with them, share my number with them, share my details with them, and give them the chance to jump on this training, which I'm going to edit and keep and put into my private client portal so that I can use it, because this 3 days has been, well, the 2 days, it's day 3 now, has been really fun, really amazing. I feel like it's been some really great, helpful content. And yes, well, this morning I had a conversation with somebody who's decided to do private coaching with me after watching yesterday's live training, which is just amazing. So let me share the screen and we'll jump straight in. So day 3. What is really holding you back? So what I'm going to do here now is part of the process that I teach and steps that I use for small things, for big things, for everything. And the first thing that I always do is I set the intention. And that's the same as asking yourself the most important question you will ever ask yourself. What is it that you want? What do you want? So tonight, I want to set the intention that everything comes together for you that we've been speaking about over the last 3 days, and that you have a powerful realization tonight. You take a look under your bonnet, you take a look at what's going on inside. That is the intention for tonight, that you have a realization about something on a level that you haven't had that realization before. And then we're going to do a meditation together later. So the meditation part tonight represents what I do on a bigger scale when I'm connecting my mind and my body, when I'm leaning into the woo-woo, when I'm taking the manifestation steps, when I'm rewiring my beliefs, when I'm allowing logic and practicality and real life physical plane stuff to come in there too, and when I'm becoming more aligned with myself. And then when I've done these things, when I've decided what I want, when I've done the cleanup work, I then take action. Now, sometimes those action steps are big action steps. So for me, in my world, 3 days of coaching people at 7 p.m. and sending out links and learning how not to send links and asking people to do things so that it will all come together, and marketing it, and, you know, offering private coaching at the end. That's taking action on a big scale for me in my world at the moment. When I'm speaking at events, that's taking big action for me. And then sometimes those actions are the smaller day-to-day actions, the consistency, the practicing what I preach, the delivering to the amazing people that have coaching with me, whether that be in group or whether that be one-to-one. So we decide what we want, we do the cleanup work, and then we go fucking live our lives, and we take action. We take action that is aligned, and we have a great life. Before I dig into tonight fully, I wanted to add this onto the beginning because I have connected my worth to my business so many times. I've connected my worth to how many likes I get on a post so many times. I've connected my worth to how many clients I have. I've connected my worth to how much money I've got in the bank. And it's been a limitation in the past that has showed up, held me back. And sometimes it does still show up. And I tune back into this belief that I want to share with you tonight. You are worthy because you are, full stop, amen, thank you, period, exclamation mark. You are worthy because you are. Anything that you want to build into your life is an extra and is an add-on. Even if you sat there and did absolutely nothing at all, ever, you are still innately worthy because you are. I know I'm not suggesting that you sit there and don't do anything ever, because you have desires, you have purpose, you have shit to do. But any of the businesses that you create, any of the results you get with your body when you're following a diet, an exercise plan, any of the relationships that you have or don't have, any of the achievements that you make in life or perceived failures that happen to you does not change your worth as a human being, as a spiritual being, as whatever the hell it is that we are. Okay? You are worthy because you are. So I wanted to just go back to our signs from the universe and remind you that when you see these signs, you hold the power for the meaning of those signs. You give the meaning to those signs. And those signs aren't just ladybirds and butterflies and white feathers. They can be intuitive nudges. So earlier I was in meditation in the garden and I had the nudge to log on to a course that I brought from a coach and to check out. There is loads of videos on this course, by the way, like I want to say like 50 plus videos. And I got the intuitive nudge to go listen to a specific video in that series. And it was exactly the video that, it was like 9 minutes long, and it was exactly the video that I needed to watch today. So signs from the universe are not always like, you know, like I said, butterflies and ladybirds. They're nudges, they're your desires, they're thoughts that pop in as if out of nowhere. They are next steps. They are people that are put into your life. Leanne and I had an amazing experience at the Burning Woman Festival where a woman came over to us afterwards and gave us this vision that she'd seen. Now, Leanne and I can decide for ourselves whether that vision means anything to us, right? Just because someone comes and says something to you, it doesn't mean that you've got to go follow it, right? But we can take that sign and apply the meaning that we want to apply to it, okay? So sometimes it's people that come into your life. Sometimes it's places that you end up. I've had synchronicity with places before, being in the right place at the right time. The other day I was at the gym and I bumped into the girl who created this deck of cards, and she was really annoyed because she needed to go home to get her food, to come back, and you know the feeling when you've like forgotten something, you've got to go all the way back on yourself. And I just went, you're not supposed to be here, you're supposed to be there for whatever reason, you're supposed to be there, so like just, you know, like go with the flow. She knows all this stuff, she teaches me. And I saw her this morning and she said, "Now," I went, did you get back in time? She says, "Now, I bumped into the exact person I needed to see. You were right. I wasn't supposed to be here. I was supposed to be there." So sometimes it's detours in the right direction. Sometimes when we think things aren't going right, And then I phoned Anna earlier. Anna's sat on this call now, and we haven't spoken since the beginning of the year, maybe. She's in a totally different energy from when I last spoke to her. And I was like, right, what's going well at the moment? And we were having this chat, and she's been doing loads of work around manifestation. She's done Level Up Your Life, the course, with me earlier on this year. And she's done a lot of work as well with Katie, who's on this call and going to be sharing with us later, around creating her own paradigm, creating her own life, healing her blocks. And she has manifested an amazing job at the moment that she's in. And she was talking to me about how that job came about. She wasn't really like connected to the end result. She knew she wanted to do something, but opportunities were coming to her that she hadn't even asked for. And even though the opportunity that came to her didn't end up being the right fit, I think she actually rejected the opportunity. It then opened the doorway for her to follow her intuitive thoughts around it, and very effortlessly and in an energy of trust and flow and curiosity has now wound up in a job that she never imagined herself doing at the start of the year, by living the things that she's been learning. So I asked her earlier if I could share, so thank you for allowing me to share that. Anna was not in resistance, she was in flow. And when we do these things, sometimes it's kind of hard to tune back into that energy of how was it all working. But if you've done it once, or if you've done it in one area of your life, you can do it in all of them. You are not limited. So as I was deciding what I would share with you tonight, like, this may mean nothing to anybody, but I was brought up with Star Trek, right? So when I am looking at what holds people back from going after their goals and their dreams, and they're like, I haven't got the time, I haven't got the money, that's all surface stuff, right? It's not the real reasons. And the reason why it's not the real reasons is because so many people are busy doing loads and loads of things with limited financial resources, and yet they still somehow manage to reach their goals. There is proof of that in so many success stories all over the world, all different walks of life. So although we convince ourselves it's because we don't have the time and we don't have the money, they're not the ultimate reasons. So I was sitting and I was asking, what do I need to share? What do I need to share? I was brought up on Star Trek, and you might not know what that person is or that machine is. Leanne's like, no, I don't know. But it looks pretty scary, right? That is a Borg. And the Borg used to invade planets, invade ships, and just take over and assimilate everything and everyone. And their saying that they used to use was that resistance was futile. And what's happened for me in the past, when I have resisted my goals and my dreams and my desires that feel good to me, is that I have built up so much resistance to it that sometimes I've not even wanted to get started. And this has been for small things in life, and this has been for big things in life and in my business. And that resistance builds and builds and builds and builds to the point where I feel like I've failed before I've even started doing what it is that I want to do. Okay, I have been there many, many, many times where I used to sit there and dream and know that I was made for more, and feel really, really frustrated and feel like I didn't have any time and feel like I was completely alone. I'm going to go more into that later. And feeling like if I don't sort this out, like, what's going to happen? Because there was, like, my life wasn't horrendous. This is no like rags to riches story, like down in the dump with nothing. I was just empty, because although other areas of my life were fulfilled, I was not in alignment with my purpose of what I should be doing on this planet in my business. So I had to ask myself, who is it that I want to be? Because the excuses that I was using were running out. It used to be my kids are small, I have to look after my kids. Okay, my kids were at school or nursery or the childminder most of the time. Not most of the time, but, you know, daily. There was plenty of hours. And then as my son's now 19 and my daughter's 12, and as they were getting older, I was like, oh my God, I can't use that excuse anymore. And I'm still not doing anything about this business that I want to start. What other excuses did I used to use? I used to use the money excuse all of the time. And then lockdown hit and my business was completely taken away from me overnight, as it was with many people. And we were doing absolutely fine for money. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I can't use the fact that money is an excuse, a reason why I'm not getting on with this coaching business. So whilst I can't promise you a unicorns and glitter and butterfly experience, when you decide who you want to be and you overcome the things that are holding you back, and you get honest with yourself about your bullshit excuses, you can be happy. There is a reality that exists to you where you can feel aligned and where you can continue to grow and where you can evolve. Even though I can't ever promise you it's going to be perfect. You have to be brave and you have to understand that as a human being, we're designed to resist change. We're designed to stay in our comfort zone. Our unconscious mind will always look for the easiest way to feel better in the shortest amount of time possible. The unconscious mind is actually very lazy, and it's a strength and it's a weakness, because it will always give you the easiest way to do something. But sometimes that can look like self-sabotage if you aren't aligned and tuned in enough and have the tools and the skills to overcome the stuff that's holding you back. Is this making sense? Good. And we all know that change is not going to happen unless we change. So resistance is futile. I want you to write down this question, because this question is another great coaching question that changed my life. So one weekend in around about 2017, maybe 2016, I was on a weekend course in London with a friend of mine. And we were both like really into personal development and both wanted to like have our own businesses in different areas. And over the course of this weekend, we got taught 7 really, really powerful coaching questions. And I still use them to this day with all of my clients. They pop up everywhere. And one of those questions was, what's going to happen if you don't change this situation? Or what's going to happen if you don't become this coach or start this business or whatever it is that you're holding yourself back from at the moment? Excuse me. And I really had a shift in that moment with this question. I was like, wow, if I don't fulfill this desire in some way, if I don't step into this purpose, I cannot imagine like a year from now what's going to happen. And I didn't do much with it at that point. I missed the opportunity that was being given to me at that time. And the people that were running that weekend are now really good friends of mine. I had afternoon tea with her and her daughter-in-law a couple of months ago now, a really nice place in Knoll. And she's one of my mentors. She's someone that I go to when like no one else can answer me. And I consider her part of my family. But at that time, I didn't do anything with the opportunity she was offering me. I did go on to like do stuff with her, but I didn't start my coaching business for another 3 or 4 years after that. So I know that this isn't easy, like what I'm talking about. I'm not thinking that this is just like sit on a 3-day workshop and all of a sudden you'll overcome everything that's blocking you and then the clouds will part and Jesus will come down and blah, 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 blah. So I really want you to go to town with that, because a shift happened for me that day. And although I didn't take action straight away, it's a question that I come back to when I need to leverage myself to take some action. So one thing that we all have in our lives is an underlying limited belief, or belief that is limited, that has been created sometime in the early years. So probably before the age of 2, okay? So it's going to be deeply unconscious unless you are somebody who has lots of memories from before you were 2, okay? And it's called a primary concern. And what happens with this primary concern is, because it happens in our neurology at such an early stage, we actually build an identity around it to protect ourselves that is the complete opposite of what we actually truly believe about ourselves. Does that make sense? Okay, so something happens in the early stages of life to a lot of people. I'm not going to say it happens to everybody, where we get hurt or damaged in some way because we don't have the neurology to actually understand what's happening in that situation. So we build a belief about ourselves that's that painful that we build an identity around it that's completely the opposite. You know, when they say your strength is your weakness, okay? Like your strength has been born from something limited that you believe about yourself. Now, we do this in private coaching. We uncover your primary concern. Now, when I did this, my primary concern, and by the way, it shocked me, was that I am alone, okay? And the identity that I'd created for myself to protect myself from that was, I'm an independent person. I can do it myself. They were my words when I was growing up. Ask my mother, I could do it myself. Okay. And it served me really, really, really well until it didn't. You know, Love Island, it is what it is till it isn't. Love Island fans, you'll know exactly what I mean. So I'd built up this identity of being this independent, strong person. But the foundation of that, the energy behind that, was the complete and total opposite. And although I am independent, I can do it myself, had gotten me so far in my life, there came a point where it wasn't going to serve me any longer. So sometimes the resistance that we have is something that we consider to be like one of our strengths, and it is. But if it's built on something that is actually a limited belief, it's only going to take you so far. So a lot of the time in the work that I do, what I see as being primary concerns for people is generally like, I'm not worthy, or this won't work for me, or fears about how other people perceive them. So when I do this with my private clients, I don't actually often tell them that that's the exercise that we're doing. Okay, but yeah, it's a good one. So we build an identity against this deep primary concern, and it becomes deeply buried, and it starts directing how we make decisions and what we are manifesting in our lives. So it can be a block for us. Where am I? So I want you to look tonight at what's really blocking you. And you may already know, but you're still in a little bit of denial that that's the thing that's blocking you. And that's okay. Like, it takes time. I haven't overcome all of my fears and all of my limiting beliefs and all of my blocks. I'm still working on it. But I have a process and I have tools that means I don't hold myself back. So the way it goes now in my life is I decide what I want. I do the cleanup work. Sometimes it takes a month. Sometimes it takes 2 minutes. Sometimes it takes a week. Sometimes it takes a weekend, and I take a step and I learn the lesson and I overcome and I grow. And it's always a forward motion. And I learn along the way, and then I can help others along the way too. Another thing that I do and I wanted to keep the picture quite funny here. I typed in to Canva, woman crying on bed, like, because I just wanted like this image, right? And I saw this one and I was like, this one's funny, so we're going to roll with this one because I want to keep it light even though it's serious. This is like a tip that I want to share you, because when I was doing the marketing for these 3 days, I promised like top tips that I use to keep me moving quickly, and this is definitely one of them. So when I'm really in fear and I'm doing the work and things aren't going smoothly in my business, so this might be your side hustle or whatever it is that you're stuck with at the moment, things aren't going smoothly and you're thinking about giving it up, I stop making it about myself and I turn to service. Because the moment I do that, the moment I can move past my fears and what's holding me back a lot easier. Because here's the thing, right? If you've got a desire for a business or a side hustle, it's going to be in some way providing some kind of service for other people. So what about if the dog walker didn't walk the dogs? What happens to the dogs? What happens to the families that are in guilt and in pain because they need to go live their lives and like their poor dogs at home tearing the home apart? And like, I know like we could make light of it, but these are like real problems that people face. So if the dog walkers were too scared to stay in their 9 to 5 and not actually realise their dreams, like how many people aren't being served? How many people aren't being helped? If the Reiki practitioners are worried about getting it wrong or they're worried about putting themselves out there, then how many people are going to be left in pain because they're not being healed? Then they're not realizing that we can't just take steps on the physical plane. We are mental, spiritual, emotional beings. There's many different factors that make us who we are. And there's loads of different ways to go around healing yourself when you need it. What about if the beauticians and the hairdressers and the scientists and the authors and the coaches and the carers and the artists and the performers and can anyone think of any areas, any other sectors? What about if these people weren't there to provide the services that they provide? Because I believe that we start businesses with ourselves in mind and our own families in mind and how much money we want to make to create freedom for ourselves. But we ultimately have to remember that desires are, I'm going to say God-given, and if you don't like the word God, then please replace it for something that feels more comfortable to you. But these desires are given to us because no man is an island. We are all connected. And that thing that you're sitting on at the moment, or that thing that you're not allowing yourself to get clear on, or that thing that you're not willing to overcome your fears for, and that's fine too, is something that could be helping other people. So I stop making it about myself and I connect to the woman in the bed with the cigarette. I think she's got a cigarette in her hand, with the glass of wine, with all of the food, in despair, that needs what I've got that can help her shift and change her paradigm. And all we have to do is be willing to see things differently and be open to knowing that we can create our own realities by working on ourselves. So what I'm going to do now is we're all going to now have a chance to relax and go with inside ourselves. And one thing that I didn't know when I was planning this was that tonight was going to be a full moon. And it matters not whether you believe in full moon and full moon energy. I believe in full moon energy. And I don't really believe in take the word really out. I don't believe in coincidences either. And I think that it is completely aligned that the day where we're going to be looking at our blocks and releasing them, because I could have made this day one, is the day of the full moon. So let's now relax together. We're going to go into a meditation together. So get comfortable and just be open to the experience that we're going to share together now. So when you're ready, I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to take a deep breath in through the nose, hold at the top, and let it go out through your mouth. And take another deep breath in. And this time, as you let it go, I want you to allow everything to relax. Let everything go. And I want you to imagine a golden ball of light around you now that is protecting you and warming you. And I want you to see 3 stepping stones in front of you. They can be stairs, they can be steps. I want you to imagine 3 of them in front of you now. And when you're ready, I want you to take a step onto step number 1. And now I want you to float up into the air over step number 2. And I want you to float down onto step number 3. And as you feel your feet settling onto step number 3, I want you to feel how it feels to be running your business or your side hustle or whatever it is that your goal is right now. I want you to see that happening right now. I want you to hear what you would hear, feel what you would feel, think what you would think, and just sit in that feeling just for a moment. Good. Now I want you to look behind you at the middle step, the one that we flew over. On that step is all of your blocks. I want you to ask yourself, what's there? Are there people? Are there feelings? What are the words that are coming to you? What are the pictures? And what are the beliefs that are limited, that are on that second step? Just notice what you're realizing about all of the fears and all of the blocks that are on step 2. Remember, you're standing on step 3. So when you're ready, I want you to float back up into the air and fly back to step 1, down into now. Take a deep breath. Let it go. When you're ready, just open your eyes. Come back into now, come back into the room. And I want you to just take a moment just to write down what happened for you. And if nothing happened, then just ask yourself what colours were there, what feelings were there. It may not have been clear, it may have been hazy. Just take a minute to write it down. Good. So your journaling work, your homework, whatever you want to call it, is in your workbook. And I wonder what mood I was in when I wrote this. Time to put your big girl or boy pants on. What are you afraid of that's stopping you from going after your goals? Now, I am trusting that some stuff came through to you, and I'm trusting that through the process of tonight, stuff was already coming through to you. And I want you to write down tonight all of the things that are holding you back, that you are ready to let go of. And I did mine earlier. And the reason it's on a piece of paper like this is because later on, I'm going to rip that bit of paper up, and I'm going to get rid of it. And I'm going to make the declaration that I'm letting that go. And we have the look and the synchronicity of it being a full moon tonight for us. So now what I'm going to do is invite Katie to join me. So I've been showing you these pictures of some of my clients all week. And this is Katie, and she's actually on this call tonight. So I'm going to invite Katie to just share with you so that you are not just taking my word for it, and that you can see these are real people that have been through coaching with me, and just get her to just share. We're not going to be too long because it's 20 to 8 now. We're just going to, Katie's going to share her experience and what's happened for her. So Katie, thank you for jumping on this call. Always ask you to do it. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can.
So, in a few words, where were you before private coaching? What was going on?
It was a bit of a mess, wasn't I? I was in a really shitty relationship. I didn't have any self-worth. Relied on everyone else for my emotions. Everyone else to make me feel good. Yeah, I guess that's probably a quick sum up of it, really. Doing loads of reassurance seeking off everyone.
Mm-hmm. Good. So, fast forward, and it is over a year, right? So it's not just 3 months, just so everyone's clear. Katie did Level Up Your Life, the course first, and then came into private coaching with me. But what is different in your life now? Talk about like how day to day it's different, and then talk about how your mind and your emotions are now different.
Yeah, like I know my own worth now. Obviously, it's still, you get good and bad days. It's not a magic wand. You're not suddenly like amazing. You still have bad days. But yeah, like I know my worth now. Like I feel good. I don't need to do those negative reassurance seeking behaviours. I've got boundaries. That's a very new thing, having boundaries with people. If someone's doing something that isn't serving me or is bringing negativity into my life, like I can put my boundaries up now in a nice, like safe, helpful way rather than being negative. I don't need to reassure with others because I've got myself. So my friendships are like so much nicer because I'm not always like doing that reassurance seeking to my friends. I'm not just around them 24/7 because I can't be on my own. When I'm around them now, it's good quality time with them. So yeah.
And what are you doing in the picture on the screen?
I don't know. What am I doing? Sat here talking to you?
No, on there, can you see this? Oh, please tell me that my screen has been sharing the whole way through. Yeah. Yeah. Imagine you're like,
I can see. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, I'm holding my flowers. I've done my aesthetics training. I've always been employed. when Nay started talking about manifesting money, I'd be like, oh, what the hell's this? I can't do that. I've always been employed. I get my set wage. That's it. yeah, and then started having a little plowing manifestation, kept winning on the premium bonds. And thought, oh, I'll try this to another level. So yeah, I've gone and started setting up my own business, which is going rather well already.
Going really well. So Katie is a nurse, and that was what she did. And she actually came to me for coaching, not to do with starting a side hustle, nothing around that, nothing to do with that. And is it from next week you drop down to 1 day a week in nursing?
Yeah.
The rest of the time she's going to be doing her own business. So this is real life results. Like Leanne sat on this call, sorry Leanne, I'm embarrassing you now, and she's starting her own business. And I was going to ask Lorna to come on, but she's too busy running the new business that she started to jump on this call. So Katie had to step in for her instead this evening. So one last question, Katie, because I promised I wouldn't ask loads of questions. What was holding you back?
I think that fear, the fear of opening Pandora's box, like digging into horrible things that you just don't want to dig into, the fear of change. As much as it was a shitty cycle that I was stuck in, that was still my little, I thought it was a little safe space. But yeah, so it was scared of leaving that shitty cycle that felt safe at the time, but it really was not. Yes, I think that was probably holding me back.
Well, I can't wait to see how this business goes in the next year. I won't share what we've been discussing this week because I know it's still in the early stages, but if this next step comes through for you, then you're going to be looking at a very successful year this year. So, and if that step doesn't come through, then like Anna, there'll be yeah, yeah, it will do. Fab, thank you so much for sharing. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. So finally, before I give you the final word, final word to be entered into the prize draw to win your own deck of cards from our lovely Valentina, I just want to remind you that I have put the link to just have a conversation about private coaching. You are not committing to anything by having a discussion with me. There's 3 spaces left for July. I've added that on because one has gone today. So yeah, 3 spaces left for July. And where are we in the month? We're around about halfway through. So there is all of the information. I don't keep anything secret. The pictures on the side are what I will send you if you request some more information about private coaching. So I'll send that information through to you on WhatsApp. And if you do this before Sunday as well, when I'm doing the prize draw, you'll get my free exercise on how to find out your purpose. Okay, it's quite a long exercise that you sit and do, and it's of great value. So all you need to do is put up your hand and say, I am interested in private coaching. Send me through the information and I will send you through that your purpose exercise also. And I put the link into the chat at the beginning of the call because otherwise I'd forget. And now I can't find out how to get the chat box back. So we're just going to have to hope it's in there. I will send it out on WhatsApp or in an email. So if private coaching is not for you at the moment, if you're someone that doesn't have the fees right now, then that is absolutely fine. It's, you know, everything happens in the right timing for everyone. And I've got plenty of stuff that you can access for free in my Facebook group, on social media, and on my YouTube channel also. So make sure that you plug into that free content if at the moment it's not the right time for you. However, if you are ready and you're feeling called and you think that you and I would be a good fit, and you know that we could actually like really smash this together, and you have a feeling you're getting that intuitive nudge, then I really do urge you to take action on this before the weekend. Normally I'd say tonight, and you may take action on it tonight, but you have got until the weekend to do that. So if you feel like you're being called, if you feel like we are a good fit, then I would absolutely be honoured to have a conversation with you about it. So don't forget, nothing changes if nothing changes. So prize draw, the 3 words from this week, if you want to be in with a chance of winning this deck. And if you have one already, then it's an amazing gift to gift to somebody. I heard years and years and years ago that your first deck of tarot cards should be gifted to you. I don't know how true that is, right? It's a belief. So believe it if you want to. So if you already have a deck or it's just really not your thing, then still enter, because it would be a lovely gift for somebody else that you have in your life. And as the universe works, you will probably be giving it to the person at the exact time of them needing it. So the 3 words are identity, aligned, and boss babe. And I will announce the winner in the female empowerment community. So if you're not in the female empowerment community on Facebook, then you're not going to know. Well, you will really, because I've messaged you. But that's where I'm going to be doing the prize draw at 10 a.m. on Sunday. Before I go and love you and leave you, who has any questions for me, or have I forgotten anything? Anyone that I spoke to and said, remind me to say XYZ on the call tonight. Are we all good? Let's stop sharing the screen so I can actually see people. I want to really thank you all as well for being with me over these 3 days. And I know there's been links problems and all sorts, so there's a few things that I'd do differently if I was doing it again, but it's been an absolute honour to bring this 3-part training to you all. And yeah, I look forward to connecting with you all again very, very soon. Have a lovely evening. Take care. Good night.